This video is brought to you by Incogni. One of Labour's 6 steps for change was reforming the UK's education system, which is currently in a bit of a state. Not only are universities going bankrupt, but at the primary and secondary level, absenteeism is on the rise, mental health is on the decline, and teachers are quitting at a record rate. So in this video, we thought we'd take a look at the UK's education system, the problems currently facing primary and secondary schools, and how Labour plan to fix things. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. But first, let's start with some context. This video will focus on primary and secondary schools in England, as education is devolved in Scotland and Wales. Now, to give you a quick summary, children generally go to primary school from age 4 or 5 to age 11, then secondary school from 11 to 16. After 16, pupils can either leave education and enter vocational training, or continue into sixth form and then study for further academic qualifications, known as A-levels, or vocational qualifications, known as BTECs. While there are private schools in the UK, the vast majority of pupils, about 94%, go to state schools, which are funded by local authorities via the government. In England, what gets taught is set out by the government in the national curriculum. The last time this was reviewed was back in 2014, but the Labour government has already commissioned a new review to report in autumn 2025. So now you know how the school system is set up, let's take a look at Labour's planned reforms. Broadly speaking, there are 5 ideas. The first is broadening the curriculum, the second is improving the teacher workforce, the third is addressing disabilities and mental health, the fourth is reducing child poverty, and the fifth is reforming the UK schools regulator. First up, broadening the curriculum. Labour believe that the national curriculum shouldn't just focus on the core subjects, but should also prepare children for a life beyond school. Over the last decade, participation amongst 10-year-olds in drama has dropped by nearly 50%. Music participation is down by more than a third, and competitive sport is down 13%. As well as trying to expand the curriculum to remedy this, Labour have also proposed introducing careers advice and work experience into schools to better prepare kids for life after school. The second point is reforming the teaching workforce. England currently has an acute shortage of teachers, and many schools are struggling to retain teachers. According to 2023 data from the Department for Education, 13% of newly qualified teachers leave within a year after qualifying, and 19% leave by the end of their second year. This high churn is driven by a range of issues, but one of the big ones is the excessive workload. A 2018 study by an Education Policy Institute found that secondary school teachers work an average of 49.3 hours a week, a fair bit above the recommended 41 hours, while primary school teachers average 51.2. To address this, Labour plan to recruit 6,500 new teachers at a cost of £450 million and implement a requirement that they hold or are working towards qualified teacher status. This is because many teachers aren't actually trained in the relevant subject area. More than 1 in 4 physics lessons in the past year were taught by non-specialist teachers, with nearly 1 in 5 lessons in French and German taught by non-specialists. 45% of schools even reported that at least some of their maths lessons in the past year were also taught by non-specialists. The third and fourth set of reforms are to tackle 2 growing crises: mental health and child poverty. Between 2022 and 2024, the number of children needing SEND support, that's special educational needs and disabilities, rose by 26%, now representing 10% of all pupils. However, according to The Guardian, 1 in 3 teachers report having no behaviour support team for students with SEND. An online survey from the National Education Union revealed that 7 out of 8 teachers feel that current resources are insufficient, and that more learning support assistants are urgently needed. Moreover, while SEND plans are legally required to be issued within 20 weeks of application, government data shows that this deadline is missed in half of all cases. To address this, Labour has proposed placing a specialist mental health professional in every school, a plan estimated to cost around £175 million. On child poverty, Labour are planning to introduce free breakfast clubs for all primary schools, beginning with a £7 million pilot scheme in 750 schools, before a full rollout across England in April 2025. Largely due to the cost of living crisis, the percentage of pupils receiving free school meals has surged from 13.6% in 2017 to 24% in 2024, with the rates particularly acute in certain regions. In the northeast, for example, a huge 31.2% of children are currently eligible for free school meals. Another related but more controversial issue is whether to remove the two-child benefit cap, a policy introduced by the Conservatives in 2017 that's widely believed to have contributed to rising child poverty. It's yet unclear whether Labour will remove the cap, which the Child Poverty Action Group estimates could lift 300,000 children out of poverty. But the debate has caused significant rifts among the Labour Party, with 7 MPs losing the whip in July for voting to scrap it. Fifth and finally is reforming the UK's education regulator, Ofsted. This has come in response to growing calls for change following the death of Ruth Perry, a head teacher who took her own life after an Ofsted investigation downgraded her school from outstanding to inadequate. Labour has now introduced report cards that shift away from the high-pressure, low-information model used previously, which will identify areas where schools are improving as well as areas needing attention, and will also include recommendations for further improvement. Now, it goes without saying that Labour's education reforms will be costly. So how will they pay for it? Well, Labour like to point to their new 20% VAT on private school fees from January 2025. However, there has been debate over whether this will work, as the money raised might be offset by the new costs of children moving from the private to state sector. A recent paper by a free market think tank, the Adam Smith Institute, estimates that VAT on private school fees could result in a 5% to 25% migration of students from the private to state sector, which, when coupled with other demand/supply side effects, could result in a net loss of £2.5 billion for the Exchequer. While this report should be taken with a pinch of salt, given the Institute's own biases, the basic idea that the new VAT on private schools could put more strain on the public sector is valid, and if the finances are strained across the board, Labour might have to raise taxes elsewhere to meet their commitments here. Ultimately, as in many other areas, Labour are right to diagnose a crisis of sorts, but the ever-present problem of where to find the money recurs, and we'll have to wait until the budget for more detail. Now, as we've demonstrated in this video, there's a huge amount of uncertainty in the world of politics and current affairs, often with few easy solutions. Unfortunately, this can be the case online too. There are all kinds of bad actors out there that want to try and use you to make a quick buck. Take, for instance, data brokers. They collect, aggregate, and sell your personal information, including names, aliases, social security numbers, login credentials, home addresses, location history, online activity, and more to the highest bidder. This can result in everything from spam to identity theft. Luckily for you, though, there is a solution: Incogni. They work on your behalf to request your personal data removal. They also deal with any objections, and to make sure that your personal information isn't shared by the brokers again, conduct repeated removal requests. And with their family and friends plan, they'll even do this for you and up to 3 of, well, your friends and family. So, create an account with our link in the description, grant Incogni the ability to work on your behalf, and sit back as they make you safer. Plus, by using our link, you'll get an exclusive 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Thanks for checking it out, and thanks to Incogni for sponsoring this video.